Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. It is 11:59, almost noon, so we'll give everyone, oh, just kidding. It's noon now. Um, so I am going to start on time. I think we have some people hopping in, and I am Susan Delahousse. I'm SOPA's career and professional development advisor. A little bit about me. My background is in recruiting. So I did recruiting for some top law firms in New York City and a big tech company in New Orleans. And so while I was the recruiter, I was writing the job descriptions, posting them online, receiving the resumes, reading the cover letters, deciding who would move on to be seen by hiring managers, scheduling the interviews, and also doing screen interviews, references calls, onboarding, and interviews in person as well. So if you have any questions when you are dealing with a recruiter, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and hopefully I can just give you some good advice about how to navigate that. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of LinkedIn. And I know we're talking about LinkedIn, but I'm going to share first just a resume template just to make a little bit of a point. Everything on your resume should match your LinkedIn profile. So whatever you have on here, the recruiter goes and typically looks at your LinkedIn. You don't want to create any confusion, starting with your name. And I tell people resumes are not a legal document. So whatever name you want to be called, put that on here. I mean, if I wanted to be called Susie, I could just put Susie Delahousse. I don't need to put Susie in quotes, but however you want to be called, let it be known. And also make sure your name matches your LinkedIn profile, because some people still have their maiden name before they were married on their LinkedIn profile, then they have their married last name on their resume, and it just confuses the recruiter. They're like, is this the same person? They've never met you before. They don't know what you look like. So just make sure everything matches, including your education, work history, volunteering. And so there's symmetry between the two, and the recruiter will be like, oh, I found this person. I like to include a hyperlink on my resume just so it will take the recruiter directly to my LinkedIn page. And that makes it a lot easier for the recruiter, especially because you're going to share your resume when you're applying in a PDF. So it's just one click. It takes them to your LinkedIn and they can see your photo. And that's why you don't need a photo on your resume. I know this is a very basic resume. I know we have a lot of students in media and design programs and marketing and IT, and theirs is going to look a little bit different, maybe a little bit more creative. This is more of just maybe someone who's applying for a government position, a paralegal position, and things along those lines. And I can share this template with y'all. And we also have a career services portal in Canvas. So we are going to hop into LinkedIn now. And I get on LinkedIn first thing. It's the first website I get on every day. I know that sounds a little crazy, but it is my job. And I see tons of opportunities on here for students. And I like to repost and like things so they show up in your profile, in your feed. Please don't hesitate to send me a link to connect, and then things that I am liking and reposting, networking events, and all that will show up in your feed. And see right here, applications are open. So, I like to, when I get on here, see if there's any jobs that I should be reposting about, networking information like this Lunch and Learn here in New Orleans for anyone who's in digital marketing, all kinds of fun things that you can find out about on LinkedIn. And the power that we have with LinkedIn is that you can network online And then you can find out about networking events that are taking place in person. So I'm going to show you all my page and just run through what I think are most important. I always say it's better to have no LinkedIn profile than to have an incomplete LinkedIn profile. If someone goes to your profile and it's incomplete, you don't have a background banner, you don't have a professional headshot, all that, if you don't have a nice looking headline here, updated information, it looks sloppy. So I say it's all or nothing. Either you go full force and have, and once you create your LinkedIn profile, I mean, you just need to do little tweaks here and there, and maybe it'll take you an hour to do this. I like to start at the top and just work my way down the page and show you all, starting with the link to your page. I want that if when you open a LinkedIn page, you get a LinkedIn assigns you a profile name, a URL. And if you go to your page, if you click on me and then you go to your public profile and URL, this up here, edit your custom URL up on the top right is where you can just make this clean. Now, I don't have a lot of competition for my name because my last name isn't super popular. So you might have to add in your middle initial, Susan L. Delahousse, or you might be a junior. You can add the junior. If your name is Mark Smith, you're gonna have to add maybe your whole middle name or something along those lines. But it just looks really clean when you have a custom URL. So that's the first thing that I suggest that you all do, is create a custom URL. Up here, your LinkedIn banner, you can create this on Canva very easily. If you just go to canva.com, you can just do Canva with, you don't have to pay for a subscription to Canva. There's lots of free things that you can use on here, and you just search. If you go to create a design, you search for a LinkedIn background photo, and it will be the perfect size for you to use to create a background. And I change mine all the time. You can edit it, change it. And so there's tons of options here for different templates. You can change the colors, you can move all this around, and it can be fun. You could change your LinkedIn background photo all the time if you want, or just leave it. I just changed mine this past weekend, and hopefully you all like it. I don't know. But so I thought this was fun, and I change mine up every once in a while just so it pops off the page. A professional photo is really important for your LinkedIn profile. You don't want to use a photo of you on vacation with a glass of wine in your hand, or a family photo. This is really for professional networking. We host professional headshots at SOPA 2 times every semester. If you're in another part of Tulane University, I know that there are other opportunities on campus to get a professional headshot taken. So definitely take advantage of that, because we have some great photographers who come on campus. And it's a big investment if you're doing it yourself, but it would be great if Tulane could cover that cost for you. You can save those photos, and you may have other reasons to have to submit a professional headshot or something. So definitely take advantage of those opportunities if you see them come about at Tulane. I updated my headline to just focus on what I do. I have seen now 2 people, top two strangers. Copy my headline and paste it into theirs and use it. Now that is a form of flattery, so I'll take it. I'm not gonna like start a fight with someone I don't know on social media. So don't copy mine, but there is this great website called coolsymbol.com where you can come and get all kinds of symbols that you can add into your headline or also into your About Me section, into different parts of your LinkedIn profile, because otherwise it is pretty black and white. So I do like to add a little bit of pop. Some people add more pop than others, and that's totally fine. It's your personal preference. You can edit it, take things out, add things. So this is a great website, and I'll send you all the link to this so you can add a little bit of customization here. Make sure your city and state and contact information is up to date. You want people to be able to get in touch with you. I created a personal website, an AI site that's free. I'll take y'all there. You can see it from click on the link from my page. And it's got a lot of the same information. But if you want to create your own personal website for free, I don't pay for this, you can come to mine. And the reason why I don't pay for it is because landingsite.ai advertises on my page. So you could start your own page here. It took me like an hour to make this. I think it's kind of fun. And you can just add the link on your LinkedIn page. LinkedIn is constantly updating. And so go through and check all these profile sections, and you all can add courses and projects that you've been working on. You can add honors and awards, organizations that you're involved in on Tulane's campus. So I highly recommend you sit down and just go through all those profile sections, and you're not going to have things to add to each one. I would never add test scores in there. I don't have any honors and awards. It's okay. You just skip those sections. For your About section, I don't recommend something that's super long. As you all know, we have very short attention spans these days. We read the title of an article. We don't actually read the entire article. I used coolsymbol.com to add a little bit of pop here and to bold things on here. I had ChatGPT help me write this. I've actually edited this recently and made it a little bit shorter because I know people, they're not reading in long paragraphs, which is why I broke it up and put a little bit of color in there. If you have anything that you've been published in, you've been on TV, you can add those links here in a featured section. And you'll see my activity on here of reposting about opportunities and networking events. A really good way if you're planning on connecting with someone on LinkedIn and maybe you've never met them before, but you see you have a mutual friend and you want to connect with them because you're interested in working where they work, it's a good idea to look at their activity section. If someone's never posted before, or they don't have a lot of connections, or their profile's incomplete, or all three of those things, they might not be active on LinkedIn. And I'm not saying to not reach out to them, but if they don't reply, it makes a little bit more sense because maybe they're not logging in to their LinkedIn often. In Outlook, we all set our out of office response. So you know if someone is out of the office when you email them. But on LinkedIn, we don't have that. So we don't know if we message someone, if they're on vacation, or we don't really know if they check it often. But I do recommend that you connect with Tulane alumni on LinkedIn, or if you're looking for a job, someone in HR. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. And for experience, I don't have all the bullets from my resume on LinkedIn. It's a completely personal preference. I do think if you are in the job search process, you should have your bullets on here because it creates more keywords. If recruiters are searching for people to reach out to hire, the algorithm will pick up on more keywords that you have in your profile. So it could create a match for you. It's a personal preference. So these are all just my ideas and thoughts. Make sure you add your education on here and what you majored in, and a high school can be also a great connection piece. I've had people reach out to me from my high school, and it just kind of creates a loose bond, but it definitely can help when you are hiring. When I worked in New York City, we were hiring an assistant for my department, and I was a CIO at the University of Alabama. One of the candidates came in, she was a CIO at the University of Texas, and we bonded over that. And we hired her, and she and I are still really good friends till this day. We didn't go to the same university. We weren't in the same sorority at the same time, but it was just something like a bonding connection that we made in the interview. She was obviously a great candidate as well. So those are things that are important. And I've had SOPA students who went to the same high school here, who, I've kept in touch with post their graduation. Now I'm advising them professionally. So those links, those commonalities can be really important. So don't discount those, your high school, and obviously don't discount Tulane University and any place else. If you've taken classes at Delgado or Loyola, those are also connection pieces. As you know, at Tulane, and I'll send you all the link if you haven't done it yet, we do get LinkedIn Learning for free, which is a huge benefit. And you can take courses on LinkedIn Learning and add them to your profile, which is great. Volunteering, add that. Skills, you want to, if you are in the job search, add a lot of skills, and AI will suggest skills for you. So it's easy for you to be like, oh yeah, I've done HR before, add that. And in the skills section, it's one of the only sections where you can reorder. So if I wanted to put resume writing at the top, because that's going to show on my page, only 2 skills show on your LinkedIn page. So decide which 2 you think are your best skills and put those up at the top. And then I kind of went down in order of things that I thought were most important for my skills. So I think that's nice that you can reorder your skills, and you'll see my top 2 skills are up here at the top. Recommendations are great. If you've worked with someone and you had a great experience, you can always offer to write a recommendation for them, or you can ask people for a recommendation. And I'm just going to use this person who I've messaged with recently. If I wanted to ask Jody for a recommendation, I would just go to this More tab, request a recommendation, choose how you know them, and you can just write a little, hi Jody, would you write a recommendation for me? You know, if you want to make it more personalized, of course you can, and you just hit send. When I wanted to ask some students for recommendations, I think I asked 5 and 2 wrote recommendations. And everyone says, oh yeah, I'll do it. But we all know we get busy, we forget, we don't have a lot of time. So if you are asking one person for a recommendation, maybe ask two, you usually get about a 50% return rate. Maybe you'll get 100%, which is great. And organizations, any organizations that you're in locally or online or at Tulane, you can add those on here. And something that's really important is to add companies where you want to work on to your list. You can look at, I'm following tons of companies because we have all different types of programs at SOPA, but you're welcome to come look at mine and see, oh, I want to follow Google. I want to follow this. And you would just click, it would just say follow, and you can just look at who I'm following. I often look at other career counselors' profiles, see who they're following to get ideas. You can look at professors, you can look at classmates, but these places, if you want to work for the city of New Orleans, they're posting that they have job openings. So anywhere that you can think that you want to work, definitely follow them. I know this company recently was posting that they had openings. And the great thing is, so let's say, I'll go back to the one if I can find it. Let's say you're in New Orleans and you're looking for a advertising position. So you follow this company. Over here, you can see pages people also viewed and show all, and it can give you tons of ideas of other companies to follow, which is so great. A lot of these I haven't heard of, but you can click on them, see what they do, see if you'd be interested in following them. And then let's say you follow this company and you can do the same thing, and they might have some more options over here. That is really helpful. And once you start following organizations where you're interested in working, I promise you're going to see jobs pop up. It happens all the time with students I've been working with. And it's kind of fun. In addition to following companies that you're interested in, I do recommend that you follow organizations who are hosting local networking events like Idea Village, Startup NOLA. There's marketing organizations. If you're looking for a government position, follow usajobs.gov. And someone asked, I'm looking at the questions, should we deactivate the feature that allows people to see if you have viewed their profile? A professor told me to do this, but I'm unsure if it's a good practice. It's a personal preference, and I'm not sure if how I have my settings set. I think it's fine. I have the premium features for LinkedIn, and on here I can see who's looked at my profile, and I think it's fine. I think that it just kind of shows maybe it could create a connection for you. And I think in the past people were hiding it, maybe when LinkedIn started a long time ago, but I think it's more of a community that's more open. And let's say you meet someone at a networking event and you look at their profile, but you forget to connect, and they see you looked at their profile, it might remind them, oh, I met that person a few weeks ago. Let me connect with them. I think LinkedIn is it's very professional friendly. So it's a complete personal preference if you want to hide whether or not someone sees that you're looking at their profile. I think I allow people to see if I'm looking at their profile. And I'm not like that worried about who's looking at mine. So I think it can be a positive thing, especially if you're trying to network. But if you want to listen to your professor, it's okay. But there are things in the settings that I do want to make sure you all know about. Someone asked if it's important to get your skills endorsed. And I think that that was a really popular thing when LinkedIn started, but it's not popular anymore. This is kind of like just adding skills to your resume. So I don't ever ask anyone to endorse my skills anymore. And so I think it was popular when LinkedIn first started, but it's kind of a thing of the past. And I wouldn't be surprised if they like completely phased that out. For me, this is more of if a recruiter is, because recruiters do reach out to me through LinkedIn messaging. I'm just adding my skills on here in case a recruiter picks up on all my skills and this is the type of person that they want to hire. I don't think that they're looking at endorsements. As a former recruiter, we were not looking at endorsements at all. Like that wasn't like a positive or a negative. It was just, you can put all those skills on your resume and they can also be on your LinkedIn page. So don't worry about having endorsements for your skills. And so a few things, if you are back to, places that you can follow that are hosting networking events. If you're in New Orleans, if you're in another city, there's Chamber of Commerce's, there's organizations like Idea Village and Startup NOLA and Tulane Innovation Institute and all these places that are hosting different types of networking events are great to follow. And look, I clicked on Startup NOLA, and then it also gives you affiliated pages and a bunch of other ideas for places to follow. So I love that LinkedIn does that. And I think that that is great. I do want to say, so I did join the premium features on LinkedIn, and I'm not sure it's worth the value. I think it's expensive. I can't remember how much it costs per year, but I think if, you know, if you're not interested in paying, an additional subscription for the year, I don't think it's going to hurt you. I barely look at the premium features. I think LinkedIn offers so much for free that if it's something that you're debating and maybe it's something that is not in your budget, don't stress out. I don't think that it is, it's not a necessity for sure. Of course, LinkedIn is a great place to look for jobs, and AI will recommend jobs for you, which is great. And so you can, click on here, obviously, look around for jobs. What I do recommend for if you're looking for jobs on LinkedIn or on Indeed or any other job search website, if you can go to the company website and apply, that is oftentimes better than applying through LinkedIn or Indeed. As a recruiter, anyone who would apply through our company website, when I was at a tech company or at a law firm, their application would come directly into my inbox. A lot of times I used Indeed or LinkedIn kind of as a backup repository for resumes. And sometimes I never even looked at it. I hate to admit that, but it's true. So if you want to get quick more quickly to the recruiter, try to go to the company website, see if they have a careers page, and if you can apply that way. Obviously, if they don't, and this is the only way that you can apply, then definitely apply through LinkedIn or Indeed or wherever else you see jobs. So someone asked, is there a good section to post projects? That would typically be in a portfolio. And yes, let's show that. So I would post in projects. There's a project section. So the name, the description, and any skills that you have with that. And this is where you can add a link. So if you have a link to the project that you've been working on, you can add that here, which this is awesome. You can add a project here, or you could add it in the featured section if you want. So a couple of different options for that. And I do recommend, let's say you are, in a job transition, let's say you had been doing, working in a certain industry and now you're transitioning to a different industry. It will help to add those courses with, if you're in graphic design, to add those course titles in there just to show people what you are currently working on. And it will, catch people's attention that you are in school focusing on a new job industry. So LinkedIn is constantly updating. So I do recommend you check that profile section every once in a while to see if they've added anything that you can add to your profile. And we'll go back to, this is your edit your custom URL. We did that. And this is your visibility, which someone was asking about. Now, if you turn this off, no one can see you. And sometimes students have accidentally been set to off. So make sure this is on. It blocks out your photo, and a few students have been shocked that the setting somehow got turned off, so no one can see their photo or anything. So make sure your public profile visibility is on, and then you can decide if you want your LinkedIn profile to be public. Maybe I just want mine for all LinkedIn members. So I just changed mine. See, you can just change it all the time. And you can decide what you can show people who aren't connected to you. I show all these things, but I don't show a few other things. So it's completely up to you what you want to show, what you don't want to show. So I do recommend a deep dive into your settings because sometimes the settings can be confusing, right? So when you have time, here's the visibility, who can see you, who can see your last name. Sometimes people just have it set to their last name initial, which I don't know why. But that can be confusing to recruiters. If you are actively looking for a job, I do recommend you have your full last name on there, the last name that matches your resume. So definitely do a deep dive into all of your settings and just click through them. As you know, I mean, Facebook makes this complicated. LinkedIn makes it a little bit complicated. Sometimes I'll even I'll ask, I'll be like, I don't understand this. So I'll Google it, and then Google will explain to me what the setting means. So definitely do a deep dive into your settings after you've updated your profile, just to make sure um, how your profile is visible, what it looks like to people. And what I do recommend is using the power of Tulane University, or we're just going to use like a local marketing company as an example. So let's say you applied for a job at this local marketing company. You can go see in 2 seconds people who work there, who've been associated with that company. You can see how many friends you have in common with them. You can also search and see if any of these people went to Tulane, and these two people have Tulane in their profile. And if you are trying to get a job here, I would recommend you message this person and say, you know, I just applied for a graphic design position at Devaney. I see you're a graduate of Tulane. I'm hoping you're open to connect. You know, your um experience is impressive or something like that. Just something short, because as you all may or may not know, if you do want to connect, if you do want to send someone a message or connect with someone on LinkedIn and add a note, you can only send 300 characters. So you're limited with the amount of characters that you can send. So I often go to ChatGPT and I explain the situation and I ask ChatGPT, I'll say, please write a professional and polite introduction on LinkedIn in 300 characters or less. I applied for this job at this company. I found this person on their company website on LinkedIn. They went to Tulane. I go to Tulane. And then ChatGPT will write that for you in 2 seconds. And so I talk to it like it's my friend, and you get a great LinkedIn intro. I do that all the time. I usually end it with, I hope you're open to connecting, just so the person doesn't feel obligated to connect with you, but it's more of like, it's up to them to connect. And I would say, 9 times out of 10, they are open to connecting, which is great. And there is power in loose connections and connecting with people who have something in common with you. So I do think that networking is really important these days. We have these websites, LinkedIn, Indeed, where anyone in the world can apply for a job. So you want to, in order to enhance your chances of getting a job, make a connection with someone at the company on LinkedIn after you've applied for a job there. And oftentimes you can find someone at a company who is in, I'm looking for HR. And so if you don't find anyone at the company who um, is has a connection through school for you, try to find someone who's in HR. Or if you're applying for a graphic design position and you find someone who's in a graphic design position at that company, you could also reach out to that person and say, I'm really impressed with your skills, and I just applied for a graphic design position there. Do you have any advice on how to get my foot in the door? And people reach out to me pretty often. I reached out to people at Tulane when I was trying to get a job here, and people are receptive to helping. So definitely don't discount. Don't just apply, and just send your resume out. Go the extra mile to connect with someone on LinkedIn who works at that company, who could possibly maybe put in a good word for you because they sit next to the director of HR. It definitely, it works. I see it happen all the time, which is great. It happened for me. I kept messaging people at Tulane. One guy even had like a 10-minute phone call with me and said, "You're applying for the wrong jobs. You don't want to be an academic and career advisor. You just want to be a career advisor." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then I finally got in touch with the director of HR at Tulane. Sure, it took a little while and it took a little bit of extra work, but eventually I got here. So I definitely recommend using LinkedIn as an additional connection piece in your job search process. I will follow up with all of you with um, information about what we discussed today. And I'll also share the links, schoolsymbol.com, Canva. But if you have any questions, or if you're a SOPA student and you want to meet with me to discuss or ask me to look at your LinkedIn after you have updated, please don't hesitate to do so. And also connect with me on LinkedIn. When I was updating my page, I followed a career counselor who works for LinkedIn. So I got ideas from her about who to follow and things like that. And she always had a fun, bright LinkedIn banner. And so she inspired me. So try to find someone who you look up to, who inspires you, and you can look at their page and get ideas from. And but you can make it as creative as you want. Just make it you know very professional, and also make it complete. So fill out all those profile sections that you can, and know you can always change things at any time. So that is my LinkedIn networking presentation. If you have any questions about LinkedIn or want to get in touch with me, I think you all know where to find me through my email or messaging on LinkedIn. But I hope you all have a great afternoon, and thanks for showing up today. So I appreciate it, and I hope to hear from y'all either on LinkedIn or email. Thank you.